Everything's coming out. My gigantic muscle arms are out.
Where?
Get your muscles out. What are you talking about? Look at that weightlifter. Okay, let's get that off.
I'm going to collect some free stuff.
Stephen does not like shellfish, so it's kind of hilarious that he's out there foraging for clams just because they're free. Good morning. So right now we are currently in a Morrison's car park. All the top places that we go to. But we didn't stay here overnight, and nor are we going to stay. I'm pretty sure you can't stay here even if you wanted to, which is the same for most supermarket car parks, which is quite harsh really, because, you know, when you think how big they are and how empty they are at night, that's quite a shame. So we're in this Morrison's car park because we have just spent the last couple of days on a campsite in Devon, and it was absolutely lovely, completely isolated, so peaceful. And the campsite, there was a lot of attention to detail there. So he offered you a cup of tea when you arrived, and there was ice cream for sale, a well-stocked shop. However, it was in the middle of nowhere, which was absolutely fine, but there was no signal. It was terrible. So right now we're in this Morrison's car park in Tiverton. So I can upload one of these things you're watching. That's the thing when you're trying to do this on the road, like the signal is crucial, and in the UK it is so variable, especially if you venture into the countryside, it often disappears, as we all know. So currently in a Morrison's car park, Stephen's just making us a bit of lunch, and I'm uploading a YouTube video which is taking quite a while because we're using our phone signals. And yeah, that's it until we decide what we're actually going to do next. Okay, so we've had a very nice little lunch. Thank you, Stephen. All very good. Uploaded the video. We're ready to move. We were going to go and explore Exmouth National Park, but we've kind of realised that, one, we've got to be back at work in a couple of days, so we didn't want to just dedicate a day or two to it. That seems like a waste. It feels like somewhere we need to go back to and be involved in properly for a good week or two. And the other thing is, we've kind of realised now we're closer to the south coast of Devon than we are to the north. Somehow that's happened. So we figured we'd head somewhere south. So where are we going, Stephen?
Exeter.
Exmouth.
Exmouth. Exmouth.
Exmouth.
Exmouth.
Exmouth. Now we've been before, but we haven't really we haven't filmed it. So we thought we'd go again.
Let's go.
And there's a few things to do there. There's a town to see, there's a river estuary, there's some walks hopefully. Well, we're just going to make it up, aren't we? Yeah. We don't really know what we're going to do.
Look, the sun's shining, let's not scare it away.
Alright, let's just go. We've got to go. We'll see you next month.
Right.
Mouth. So we've arrived in Exmouth. Doesn't it look amazing, Stephen?
It's lovely. The sun is shining. It's warm. We're right by the sea. Lovely. Absolutely
perfect. Yeah, like all this terrible weather. Yet the legs are out, the very pale legs on both of our counts. They're out. Everything's coming out. My gigantic muscle arms are out.
Where?
Get your muscles out. What are you talking about? Look at that weightlifter. Okay, let's get that off. The sea's there. Well, of course it is, because it's by the sea. And it is absolutely rammed. We were really lucky to get a space. Now, we've stayed down here before. It's very campervan friendly, so you can park along the seafront, and it's £11 for 24 hours. So, you know, it's another thing to pay out, but I think that's pretty good, given that you're right by the sea for 24 hours. That's not bad, really. Well worth it. We're very lucky to get in this space. We kind of want to go for a swim, but maybe later, maybe tomorrow, maybe not at all.
Well, let's get out in the sun.
Well, let's just get out. Let's just go. Let's see what's about.
I'm scared it's going to run away.
Yeah, me too. Let's go. So Stephen's now got it in his head that we're going to go collecting clams and have them for dinner later. Do you even know if you don't even like shellfish?
I like free stuff.
So if it's free, however disgusted you are by it, I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it? It all makes sense now.
I'm going to collect some free stuff.
Stephen does not like shellfish. He does sometimes like mussels, I'll give him that, but generally he doesn't. So it's kind of hilarious that he's out there foraging for clams just because they're free. So this is what Stephen is wanting to collect. Obviously that's an empty shell, or half a shell. So they're clams, and I'm sure you can eat them, and having googled it, they do seem to be on certain menus, etc. You know, it's clear that you can buy them, but I don't know if it's me, like, I love shellfish, and I never see these on typical shellfish stalls. So you get your cockles, you get your mussels, you get your whelks and all the other bits and bobs, but I've never ever seen these clams. So I'm not saying that they wouldn't be fine to eat, because obviously they are, but I'm a bit dubious about us collecting them, doing it ourselves, having, I don't think, ever tried these before in my life. Never mind the fact Stephen doesn't even like shellfish. And this week on Foraging Without a Clue, how's the clam collecting going, Steve?
Well, I've had to put them all back because they are all a bit too small.
Yeah.
And we still don't know whether we want to eat them or not. Which is very disappointing. So now I'm just left with this stupid bucket, a stupid bucket, and a stupid hole. So now I'm just collecting rubbish.
We had them in Spain, he said, and I do remember that now, but I've never had them here, and you never see them for sale in any normal capacity. I don't know why, but I just don't think you do. So it's a bit like those razor clams, you know, the long ones you get on the beach. I think a lot of them are sent to Spain. I don't think we really sell them here, and they're meant to be really nice.
Really
so
expensive.
Are they? All that aside though, what a beautiful beach, Stephen, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's nice.
What an absolutely gorgeous beach.
It is. We've been walking for quite a while and I haven't got much rubbish yet in my bucket.
No, it's been quite a clean beach, and you've got all those red cliffs which are the beginning of the Jurassic Coast, I believe. So they go all the way along to Dorset, and a big expansive sandy beach, big boulders and rocks on it, rock pools. It's got a little bit of everything. So we're very glad we've done this, because the last time we came here we never actually got to walk along the beach itself. So very nice, highly recommended, and very van friendly as well, so that's always a plus. I mean, there are a lot of vans, it is absolutely rammed, and to be fair, it is a Saturday, but you're kind of like, you wouldn't want to take the piss, you know, so hopefully this sort of thing, people aren't staying for more than a couple of nights, because it's more vans than cars, I would say. So I think we're planning on 2 nights and then we're going to be off. I'd say that's probably the limit for these sorts of things. But anyway, there is lots and lots of parking space, so it seems like there's room for everyone, and yeah, gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. It's warm, we've got our shorts and t-shirts on. I only just noticed that actually, that we're in our t-shirts. Can't remember the last time we did this. Steve's collecting, well, he's found loads of rubbish now, look at that.
And a ball. Does anybody want a ball?
That's better than collecting clams. I think we should do this instead. So of course, after regularly moaning about the price of chips, we decided to spend it on a very overpriced pint of beer again. So cheers to that.
It's fluids.
How much, Stephen?
£6.
$6.29 each. So it was $12.58. Have I added that up right? I hope I have.
Yeah, it was.
$12.58 for 2 of these. Absolutely crackers. To be fair, we didn't know that before we bought it. But you know what? When you're walking along, like the sun's out, we're walking along this beach, you just feel like you're on holiday. So you kind of just want to go into a bar and get a drink and sit outside.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm justifying it. I suppose I have to, because it was £12.58.
I know.
Absolutely mad. Christ. We should start making our own. Cheers, Steve. We may as well enjoy it. We've paid for it now. And even though it was £6.29 for a drink, still extortionate. When you've got views like that, you can't complain, can you? I mean, we will complain, and we just have, but still. Okay, so we just got back to the van and the weather just changed in an absolute instant. So when we went to get that beer in that bar on top of the cliffs, it was still sunny and nice. By the time we'd finished, there were dark skies, the wind had got up, and yeah.
Am I supposed to be looking at the camera?
No, not really. I was just talking into it. Just happened to be facing you, that's all.
Oh, okay.
Just thought for a change because it's always on me.
I was paying attention, I promise.
Yeah, of course you were.
Have a biscuit.
Oh, no thanks.
I wasn't talking to you.
No.
Just talking to our lovely viewers.
Don't want one anyway.
They might like one of these.
What are you going to do, pass it through the screen?
No, I'm going to eat it for them.
So as we said earlier, this place is really van friendly, but when you're here on a weekend, you do have to sort of not fight for a space, but you'd be very lucky to get a space. You have to keep going up and down. We are rammed in. I honestly didn't think Stephen was going to get into this space, but he did. So we've got a van one side, a van the other, and there are absolutely tons. I mean, I'm going to say there might be as much as 100 here. Stephen, what do you reckon? If you go from one end to the other, quite possibly up to 100. Maybe that's a bit much. Maybe we're talking more like 60 or something, but it feels like it could be 100 potentially. Oh, and before we do actually clock off for the evening, we are now spending the evening in bed, kind of, with a beer, several beers. Is that weird? Does anyone else sit in bed with an alcoholic drink?
Well, our bed is our lounge.
Our bed is our lounge, so we're not technically in bed, but we're kind of like lying down, half lying down with the covers over us, drinking a beer. Anyone else do that in a van? Please let us know, so it's not just us. I kind of hope it is just us in a way.
No, I don't have anything to say.
All right, well, we'll enjoy our beer. Just drink the beer.
Cheers.
Cheers. So you know how on all these river estuaries, the large ones, you often see boats like this, don't you? Just kind of all dotted about, floating, kind of quite far from the shore. You see it everywhere where there's a river estuary like that. And we were just debating, how the hell do you get back and forth to your boat? Like, how do people do it? Do they paddleboard over? Stephen said they might swim, which I don't know if they do that. Is there some kind of local service that does it? Like, how does it happen? I'm sure we can just Google this, but if you do know, please let us know, because it's kind of fascinating. It just seems like a lot of hard work, doesn't it? Like, you've got your boat in the middle, getting back and forth to it. Like, yeah. How does it work? So there's a marina around the corner. That's easy because you've got the boards to walk on. You kind of park your boat effectively. But when they're out here, are they just left there? Do they get used at all? Is it just decoration? Who knows? Answers on a postcard or down below, please.
All right.
Right, so we caved in. We're back to the chip discussion again.
Apparently this is a large.
So Stephen's annoyed because that, to be fair, that looks much smaller on the camera. So a large was $3.60. So what we thought is, rather than what we normally do, which is get a small each, we thought we'd get a large to share. Yeah, that definitely could be bigger. That's not quite a large. I don't think it's terrible. It does look a bit smaller on the camera than what it actually is. The chips are quite nice, but I don't know. Not quite a large, is it? Stephen's absolutely fuming.
It's not a large portion of chips, it's rubbish.
They taste good.
Anyway, they're getting cold, so let's eat.
Yeah, let's just eat. And Stephen's fuming anyway, so I'm sure he's going to hate every second of it.
I just hate being ripped off.
It's just the standard thing, isn't it? Pay more, get less kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't care what anybody says. We have to work to pay for anything that we buy. So why shouldn't we complain and expect more? It's rubbish.
Are you enjoying them?
I'm furious. They do taste quite nice.
I mean, I think it's time to have a break from featuring chips in our video. What do you think? Because they come up every week and more often than not it's a negative, so maybe we'll give it a break. What else shall we review? Something different. Spider plants? Shower gel? Put it down in the comments. What would you like to see us comment on instead? Because the chips thing is just getting old and stale now.
Bit like chips from the chip shop.
Bit like chips from the chip shop. Time to move on.
Before we left Exmouth, there was one last thing to do, and unsurprisingly it's another National Trust property, but we hadn't seen one that looked quite like this. A La Ronde is a strange 16-sided house designed by two cousins, Jane and Mary Parminter, who travelled Europe extensively in the late 1700s and wanted a home that was inspired by all they had seen on their journey. The house is full of unusual angular rooms, all circling a central area, and contains curious collections and crafts created by the two cousins, including some incredible ceiling borders made entirely of feathers. But most interesting of all was the fact in Mary's will she insisted only unmarried women could inherit the property. They were pioneers as females, succeeding in areas that would have been considerably harder for women at the time, and in A La Ronde they have left a unique and enduring creation.
Right, the plan when we got here, we didn't even know there was a National Trust property, so we were looking for things to do in Exmouth and we got a bit, we weren't bored walking around the town, but we thought, well, what else can we have a look at? Well, he was bored. And then I realised there was a National Trust property about 1.5 miles out, so it was a bit of a trek up the hill, but at least it's all downhill on the way back. It was a lot more interesting than we thought. Like, I thought, oh, it was just going to be a little house, just something to have a look at, but there is so much detail in there. There's so many different things that you wouldn't expect. And the key thing about the house is that it was designed to catch the light at every point in the day, so they could move from room to room effectively. So depending on where the sun was, like morning, afternoon, evening, etc.
Yeah, it was built at a time when there was no electricity.
Yeah. Yes, that's it. So because it was built when there was no electricity, it was designed to maximise the daylight opportunities, which of course most houses don't get the opportunity to do, even big ones, because they're not round like that.
Yeah, they also don't sit on their rather large piece of land and built by people with lots of money.
Yeah, it helps to have money and land.
Yeah. But anyway, I'd live in that house. I think it's lovely.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think Dan would manage. It's got very small ceilings.
It's very small, very narrow ceilings, but very beautiful little rooms.
You couldn't get your fridge freezer through the door.
No, you couldn't.
Like that.
Forget your dishwasher. What's a dishwasher? I don't think I've ever had a dishwasher. Actually, I don't know about you, but the house sort of looks like something you might find in, I don't know, what, Germany or Switzerland or something? Has it got that look to it?
Bit of a Swiss look, doesn't it?
Swiss look, yeah. Maybe Scandinavian of sorts. I mean, we don't really know what we're talking about, but it definitely doesn't look like something you'd normally find here when it comes to historic houses. And that makes sense because they were influenced by property when they went on their European tour, which hopefully I talked about earlier. Who knows? That was what inspired them to create this house. And it was inspired by something in Italy, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, there was a painting or something, wasn't there?
Something like that. That's as far as we know right now.
And that's it now.
Oh, very nice though. Very, 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 very nice. Oh, we're knackered.
Now buy us a house.
Yeah, can you buy us a property? Cheers, thanks a lot. So we haven't quite made it back to the van yet, but we're walking a different way back, and we're walking down by the river estuary, and in the time since we left a few hours ago, that is completely drained of water, which is quite astonishing. And that is where we're heading somewhere, which I think is probably much further than it seems. Just don't tell Stephen. So we're back at the van, we've just put some dinner on, we've got pasta, the cooker needs a clean, so let's not put that in camera shot too much. Oh, that's far too revealing. Yes?
Yes.
Have you enjoyed our little park up, Stephen?
Yeah, it's nice though, I do like it.
Would we come back?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, I don't think the town's up to much, but that's just because it's just a basic town, so...
It's alright, I think it's quite quaint.
Right, it's just you know, it's just a general town. But then I don't really like shops and towns very much anyway. I don't find them very interesting.
So it's cleared out quite a bit since yesterday. It's Sunday now, so I think a lot of people do turn up for the weekend. I think so many people do have vans that they just go out in at the weekend, and you can always tell that when you come to these places, and it all clears out by the end of the weekend. Right, this is tonight's homemade pasta horror show. I made the sauce myself. Feel free to judge and criticise accordingly, because I would be, and Stephen definitely will be. But he'll eat it anyway, because that's what you do, don't you, when you're married? Oh, it's wonderful. It tastes amazing. So a parking attendant came along earlier, and I'm glad they did, because we wanted to check that we'd actually paid on the right app. It's a bit confusing down here. You can pay on Ringo, but it's a different system. I won't go into it, but it was difficult to figure out which number it was. And while I was trying to do that, this man came up to her and was asking her different questions, and he went on and on. It was kind of getting on my nerves, because obviously I wanted to speak to her, but he was just gushing with praise. It's just like, oh my God, thank you Exmouth for allowing this. This is so amazing. And you know, you kind of think, yeah, I can see why you're doing that, because it is so rare to see. And I think if you've come from abroad, and you've been used to like the free airs in France and all that kind of stuff, and you come here and you're paying £11 for 24 hours with no services, you might feel a bit sort of shortchanged. But for us, when we're used to being in the UK like this, and you know we always talk about prices, especially Stephen, you know, if it's not 50p, if we're saying it's amazing, that shows how rare it is to find things like this. So we're very grateful to find park-ups that you can stay in for that long, and we're happy to pay £11. You know, I think that's worth it, even without services, because there is no such thing as airs in the UK. They're very rare anyway. So a car park in a prime location like this by the beach, yeah, more than happy to pay that. Free is nice, but this is perfectly good. How's your Italian special, Steve?
Foul. All I can say is thank God for cheese. It's not really, it's perfectly nice. I like it. Yeah, I mean, dinner's dinner. It hasn't always got to be anything special anyway.
Well, it never is in this van.
But this was just a homemade pasta sauce with some pasta, and it's nice.
I've put parsley on mine in an attempt to be sort of sophisticated and make it look kind of healthy, when in reality it is, of course, neither. So after my Italian delicacy that we've just had, I just went for a little walk along the beach as the sun was going down. To be fair, the wind was getting up, so it wasn't that nice. But I just wanted to say, like, how beautiful is it down in this part of the country? Like, the water looks so much cleaner, and the air smells fresher. Does anyone else get that? Or am I imagining that? Me and Stephen both feel the same. Like, it smells nicer down here. I think when you're used to being sort of closer to London, which is kind of any county that surrounds it, and of anywhere where there's a big city, you do notice a difference. You don't notice it when you're there, but when you come somewhere like this, everything feels cleaner and fresher. So it's so nice to be in that. Yeah. Just a beautiful part, and we're going to have to come back to it, because it feels like we always just kind of dip into Devon and don't really stick around for too long, so we should come back. But for now, we're going to settle down, and that's it. We're very tired, so we will see you in the morning. Morning. So we've woken up in Exmouth again. We're leaving today. The weather has completely turned. Just don't be deceived by the footage of the sun, because I just went down to the beach and had a quick walk. The sun's out, but it has been hammering wind and rain all night. It might be easing off now, but yeah, we got lucky really the last 2 days. The weather's been all right, so based on what happened last night and this morning, we kind of timed it well. So we're off today. What's going on, Steve?
So we're off to work now.
Off to work.
And we'll be there for a couple of weeks, but we will still have a video out next week, and we're off to somewhere a little bit different, a little bit more exciting, what we're looking forward to.
Something entirely different. So when you see us next time, yeah, this is going to be, we're very much looking forward to this, and we've planned absolutely nothing. So we don't know what we're doing, so stay tuned, because we will be coming to you from another place next time. That's what I'm trying to say.
With that, we're going to go because we've got things to do before we get to work.
And a long drive.
So thank you for watching. Really hope you enjoyed the video. Please push your like and subscribe and your notification bell. And we will see you on the next one.
Yeah, thank you for your support. We will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.